Good morning, survivors. I'm on my way to get coffee and start the day. So as we get started, let me just tell you, we're going to talk today about the devalue phase, exactly how it starts and what happens, and well, 10 things you need to know about the devalue phase. All right, so let me get my coffee and we'll get started. So the devalue phase starts after the idealization phase, and it's before the what's it called? Discard phase, which we just talked about the other day. So the devalue phase is during the time when the narcissist knocks you off of the proverbial pedestal that he or she has placed you on, and suddenly you're no longer, the one. You're no longer important. You no longer matter that much to the narcissist, and he or she lets you know it for sure by making other people, things, places, etc. more important than him, her, or you. Your relationship being nothing's more important than the narcissist, of course, to the narcissist. So that's the discard phase. So today I'm going to give you some things to help you to understand it and get through it without, too much trouble. All right, here we go. So the devalue phase can last anywhere from a few weeks to a few months, depending on how long it takes the narcissist to feel like they've got complete control of the situation. And what will happen is that at the end of the period of time where, some people call it the honeymoon phase, the narcissist will either suddenly or gradually change and become someone who almost acts like you're their enemy, like you're against them. At first, the little digs might be just subtle, and you might just kind of, they're kind of underhanded, like, when somebody compliments you with, oh, you're so pretty, but if you weren't so fat, or whatever. Oh, you have such a pretty face, now if you just lose 50 pounds, or, oh, you're so good at cleaning the house, it's too bad you're stupid, stupid stuff like that. I mean, I'm probably being a little bit excessive there, but the truth is that narcissists have no boundaries, and they will say whatever they think they can to hurt you and put you in a position to be not autonomous, not yourself, only what they want you to be or what they tell you you are. So it's important to remember that it's not that the narcissist really changed, it's that at the beginning of the relationship you were seeing the narcissist's false self, like we've talked about before. You were seeing the person they wanted you to see and not the person they actually were. It might look like you are being treated with disrespect. It might look like him or her call you names. It might look like, a little more subtle, like underhandedly undermining things that you want to do, or, trying to take away from your ability to get validation in general. They may not go so far as to actually call you names. It depends on the narcissist. But they will slowly and methodically work to make you feel like you're nothing. And whether they're intentionally making you feel like nothing or they just really think you're nothing, it doesn't really matter, because the fact is that they treat you like you're not really a person who deserves to be loved. Return your phone calls. They won't, when they go through this, or they will give you the silent treatment if you're living with them. And a lot of times the devalue is a repeated phase, because you go through the cycle of the relationship. And in some cases, there have been people who have been in these relationships for, years, 20, 30, 40 years, and they just keep going through the same cycle over and over again until that person dies or they die. And, because some of the narcissists, while they, toxic narcissists are all toxic, there are different varying levels of toxicity, so to speak. Some are more blatant than others, and some are more psycho than others, and I do mean psychopathic. I don't mean that in the funny way. So can be attributed to the fact that narcissists get bored really easily, and they have a high need for excitement and change, and that's why so many of them cheat. And those who don't cheat find their excitement in other ways. Sometimes they still cheat and find their excitement in other ways, like drinking or drugging or whatever else, and inevitably they enjoy a good fight. So the target is left feeling completely devastated and alone and without any sort of support, because the narcissist is so good at isolating us early in the relationship. Confused, you feel overwhelmed, you feel taken. You feel like, what in the hell just happened? I thought I got my soulmate here. So when you first got with the narcissist, you were a great source of supply because you were new and different and exciting. And as you know, since I just told you, and you probably already knew, narcissists get bored really fast. Eventually that's not going to be enough for them anymore, and you will become old news, and they will either bring in a new supply or they will just torture you to amuse themselves. The thing is that you have to remember, narcissists do not see you as equal to them. They do not see you as a human being who deserves respect and love. They see you as someone who is simply an object for them to throw around and do what they want with, because you're not as good as them, or you don't matter as much as they do. Now, none of that is true. Let me just put that out there. You do matter. You are as good or better than they are. But they can't see that, and they will do everything in their power to avoid you to see that as well. And even if they do know it, they'll definitely try to tear you down, because, you know, they are secretly very insecure little people. You become an emotional punching bag for the narcissist. Even the tiniest transgressions can be attacked, you know, cause you to be attacked on an emotional level, on a sometimes even a physical level. The psychological torture of a narcissist is hell. And when you are not aware that this exists, you might actually think you're crazy. Speaking of crazy, that's one of their favorite things to call you. They'll call you crazy, delusional, insane, jealous. You know, here's an example. So, for example, you know, you might have a narcissistic spouse who decides that they want to invite someone of the opposite sex who you don't know, and who they've never spoken to you about very much, and suddenly that person's, oh, we've been friends for years, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, they might invite that person to your home for a party or whatever, and then you find out that's a single person that they're interested in, and, you know, bad things occur. So, as it stands, this is how it is to be with a narcissist, and the devalue phase is very painful, and it's something that you have to go through consistently with a narcissist until you can finally get out. And sometimes it precedes the final discard, which we just talked about recently. So why not discard them first? But when you can't, you have to figure out how to deal with the devalue phase, right? So what do? Well, gray rock them, my friend. You gotta gray rock them. It's the only thing you can do at this point, unfortunately. So stay strong, stay tuned. It gets better, I promise. I'll be back later today with another video. And if you have any questions about the devalue phase, please leave them for me below. Or if you have other questions I can answer for you in future videos, I'd be happy to do that as well. All right? I would love to know what your experiences have been with this phase and how you handled it. I think our community here could really use all the help they can get. So any suggestions you have, please offer them. Any experiences you can share that would help us, please share them in the comments below. All right? You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you later today for another video. And as always, thank you for letting me be a part of your life today and a part of your recovery.